How you doing, everybody? This is Max Farrow. This is the Dex Webinar. Tonight's a very special webinar. We're doing a rebroadcast of something that we did the other day, but I'm going to be doing this tonight. We have a lot more information than what we had the other day, and I'm joined with our trusted partner, Mike Ficca.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
Doing pretty good, Mike. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Well, we have some exciting news. As everybody knows, you don't really get far in this industry unless you're willing to move with the times and move with the passion of the people that you work with, and listen to your consumer, listen to your partners, listen to your investors, the members, anybody who's willing to take a few moments to tell you what they truly feel is worth their salt, because it takes some time to really try to let you know that something needs to change. And hey, listen, you got to put the ego away. You got to put a lot of things away. So are we perfect? Absolutely not. There's a lot of things that happen in this industry that lead people down that road. And in our neck of the woods of trying to figure out how do we best serve and help people, sometimes we forget that just consistency in service is a big relief. So far, since the signal started 2 years ago, I could count on one hand. In fact, it is 7 times. So not one hand, sorry. It's 7 times that the signals were down for more than 2 hours. Okay. And there's only been 2 times that they were down for more than 5. Isn't that crazy? In 2 years, consistency and service of those signals. Over that 2 years, we have trained over 7,000 people have come through the network at one time or another through Dex Signals, Dex Trader, Dex Indicators. 7,000 people have gone through either one or more training modules on the system, and we had over 3 million views over all the videos that we have had. So congratulations to all of you, to Mike Ficca, to myself, to Amy, to Brian, and to Paul, and to many other people, Thor, everybody who has really contributed to that process. A lot of hard work goes into that. But even with all that hard work, we still happen to miss things every once in a while. Of course, we try to get as many things out as possible as we build, but some things get left to the wayside. The only way we'll know about it is if you let us know. So, as a consumer, as somebody who's here, if you are a customer already, congratulations. You are really here to make yourself better anyway, so help us become better as well. So tonight we're going to discuss a few things that we are doing, and that we're doing in such a way that we're more organized now than we have ever been, with everything that we have initialized this past week and a half, even since I was in transit to moving. You've probably seen this email come over for you on the site being changed, on different things being added, and what we're doing to better give you communication, not only with us, but with other senior traders, with elites, and even other members in the network. So let's get started. Of course, don't really so much worry about the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. It's all going to be about Dex Trader and that move, right? Discussed this a little bit the other day, about Dex Signals not really being closed down, but being pushed to a point where the members are going to be moved from Dex Signals to Dex Trader. Now, that's a pretty good process in itself, because Dex Trader has a lot more to offer than Dex Signals, other than just their signals. Dex Trader as well is going to be having some advancements done to it, and some things added to it, so we're very excited about that. Of course, we'll talk a little bit about the news plugin system that we're building and that we have built that we're going to initialize onto Dex Trader, the consult system and its requirements, and some of the level advancements that we're going to be referring to. We're also at the end going to talk about some things that we're putting together and building as we speak, and how are we going to remain to keep organized. And this is very exciting for all of us, because some of the things that we're doing, when you only have 4 or 5 people doing a lot of topics and a lot of tasks, it's very difficult to keep organized on the process. And I'm going to do a little bit of a rant at the end of this about a particular company. So please bear with me. I know I'm going to take on the world here with what I'm about to tell you tonight. But I want you to know that that you're in good company when I start talking about this particular company and what it has done and what's changed in me since I stopped using it. And I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. Okay, of course we're going to talk about money. I'm going to show you some things that we're doing tonight and some of the systems that we are building, so you can see the effect of this process. But in order to do so, I need to let you know that everything we talk about tonight is about education and trade assistance only, and all results may vary. Most of you already know. I mean, there's by a show of people that are here, is there anybody here that's brand new, that's never bought into the system before? Anybody here brand new, never paid, never been here before, wasn't a previous customer who's come back? Anybody here? It's okay if you're not. We sent this email out to some people over the last couple of days for you to show up for tonight, just to kind of, if you missed the last one, it's okay. Just type the word in new if you are. If not, that's okay. So most of you know who we are. And most of you know that we built Dex Signals to be a signal network to help traders get a jump on learning how to trade. And in doing so, we created a very robust signal network and solution. Curtis, welcome. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And Doy's new. Thank you very much, Doy. Welcome. We built the signal network in order to house the process for signals. So dexsignals.com and on its server and on its glory holds all the database and the solution there in the platform. So when we built Dex Signals, we wanted to have an availability to keep a signal system separate. So behind Dex Signals, there's 4 or 5 servers that do some things. Now, each one of these servers compiles trades, watches the market, and applies the algorithm to the solution and delivers it through a security protocol to the website to a spreadsheet that you all see. Now, during this, we created a little bit of a monster here, that the system that was reading the internet, was watching the trade systems happen and creating the algorithm, applying the algorithm, also needed to have a database to calculate the win-loss percentages, and also securities to protect the entire thing. So this little monster right here took about a year to build. And the customer service platform that we had to build also had to go on there, had to have its security system to protect everything, and its gateways and all the great stuff that happened. And this is just Dex Signals. This took a lot to build and a lot to organize. When we first started building this network, it really came down to how well could we apply the signals. Our first thought when we're building Dex Signals was, 1, like any other company, is how much should we charge? 2, how many people can we get? How many people can actually fit into this thing? And this is what we were really worrying about in the very beginning, is how many people could we take to the network called Nadex? Because we were worried about liquidity and a whole bunch of other things at this time. You know, how much money could anybody make if we sent 1,000 people there? So we had a slow start. Well, one thing we found out very quickly is that the service, if you've got good service, if you have a good service network, now I'm talking about customer service, I'm talking about service. If you have a good signal product and you're good at training and you're personable and you're sincere, people will come. But if you don't have good follow-up or good customer service, the opposite of coming is leaving. And that's what happened our first year. We had people come, we had people go. We had no real retention, and we were really suffering through a lot of part of it. Now, I'm telling you this because as a company that's transparent, and I promise I'd always be transparent with every webinar that we've ever done, I wanted you to know, as a consumer, as somebody that's either here or brand new, or if you've been here before, some of you already know this story. In February of last year, in 2016, God, it was only a year ago. Wow. We'd already been open for about a year at this particular point. And we weren't very happy because there was a lot of things that were going on. We just came off a big battle with a company that was building a website for us for a new system called Dex Trader at the time. And they were stalling us something fierce. And I never found out why. But let me tell you, in that February of 2016, I had some things happen. I created the concept of CVG in my mind in a process as a well-known term within our company. Consistency plus volume equals goal. This was my flux capacitor moment, Mike. I swear to God. You know? So building CVG was the aha moment for me. It wasn't about trading more. It was about trading quality over quantity. And doing so, we also, in March of 2016, had to kind of revamp not so much just the website, but our mentality and the way that we thought. So we began to ask questions of people that were leaving. And the exit polls for most people were, I just I didn't know what I needed to do or where to go. So we began to work better on customer service and try to help as many people get through the systems as possible. Now, how well we've done over the last year, I think, is in great strides. We grow every time that we get to a certain point. We keep growing. We're just like the market. We grow some, we fall back down some. We grow some, fall back down some. And you start noticing this trend is it's just an uptrend with the market. So we are in a wildly uptrend. Now, just over the last couple of weeks, we sort of at this mark, right? We kind of dropped down here because I was doing a move. There was a lot of things happening with the markets. There's a lot of things happening in the industry, but we wanted to make sure that our thought here at this point was that if we hit this low point again, if we drop back down again, that we need to kind of take this time to really figure out what are we doing. We sort of really do need just to keep going up like this and keep going. I also took this stall, okay, because normally these little lulls in our business happen when I am building something, when we're moving, when we're redesigning, when we're reconfiguring a process or what have you. So when we built this last little build out, we were looking for how can we transition not just from, but to something from Nadex to Forex. We already know that overseas binaries are fraudulent, right? Has anybody in the room ever found a real overseas binary? I have stopped looking about a year and a half ago. Anybody here? I know, Mike, what about you? I mean, the last time you were 4 months ago, 5 months ago. No.
I stopped looking.
Yeah. If you're still looking, folks, can I give you a piece of advice? Stop. Quit the pain. It is painful, painful, painful. You'll never find one. And even if you do, the history behind them, you'll never know until it's too late. You'll think they're legitimate. You'll be adding more money. Then all of a sudden, it'll fail. And that's what it always comes back to. So we stopped looking. When we found Nadex about 2 years ago, we knew immediately that they were regulated. They had a bank here in the United States. The bank that itself was disassociated with their actual funding to it, and it was an exchange. It wasn't a broker. And that makes a big difference. So Nadex, the North American Derivative Exchange, was very powerful in our growth because we knew that we needed to have something that was legitimate. So when we sunk our signal network into the process of working with Nadex, we knew one thing was for sure, that we had a winning combination. But one thing that we would never do was accept money from Nadex. Ever, 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 ever accept money from Nadex. We even did some webinars with them. We were talking to them about working with their API, which never panned out for them due to some conflict of interest, I think. And the process itself started to grow. But one thing we were always held back on was the idea of how many people should we bring. Now, we have several thousand people who've gone through our network, and we have several hundred active members of the network itself. Back in March, we were doing very well last year with DEX signals. And it wasn't until we still had the concept sitting on the back burner of DEX Trader, which we wanted to make, because DEX signals, the word signal, was sort of keyholing us into just, providing a signal service, and nobody really trusted us in the learning side of it. I learned how to use a signal, but how to be a professional trader without using signals and all that stuff. So what we wanted to create was a system that had the Dex brand, because we like the Dex brand, but we wanted to make it about the individual, and that was the trader. So we made dextrader.com. Now, about halfway through last year, we wanted to have an availability to reach to as many people as possible. So DexTrader being the answer for what we needed, we knew that creating this system would train and develop traders from all types, because they're not just one type of trader. There's not just one type of mentality. Mike and I and Amy and Brian sat down one night and looked at the personas of all different types of traders. And Mike, we came up with what, about 15 or 20 different type of traders?
Yeah, something like that.
Now, they all had cute names. It all comes down to one thing, is that the more personas you have, the more people you can work with, the more different ways that you can learn how to trade with the systems, the more ways we can profit, not just as a company, but as an individual trader. I learn from everybody I talk to. And whether you know it or not, folks, when you come and you do a consult and you take part in the system and you communicate with us and you work with us, you give us more and more information every day. And we're data hounds. And that information helps provide us with easier pathways to get you to help you become better traders. So when we built DexTrader in the latter part of last year, we knew that we needed to grow in another way as well, which was with Dex indicators. So we built this nice little triad of process, which was Dex signals, DexTrader, and Dex indicators. Each one had its own little mentality at the time, but one was still kind of close to the other. Dex signals and Dex indicators, or DexTrader, was still very close. This was just signals, but this had a data processing center, it had web-based charts, and then once Dex signals got web-based charts, it sort of blended in together, and it became kind of silly to have two different sites. Now, we're not going to get rid of Dex signals. We're going to keep this here because this thing's a powerhouse. It's over 400 keywords on the first page of Google. It ain't going anywhere. But we're going to take the membership network off of it, and we're going to send all of our members over to DexTrader. That's right. Over the next couple of weeks, if you're a DexTrader member, if you're a Dex Signals member, you'll simply go to DexTrader and get a free membership, and we'll comp you for as long as you have your Dex Signals membership. You don't have to change anything. You just got to go here and then send us an email once you get a free account. Now, if you're a Dex Indicators member, just sit there and be a Dex Indicators member. That's all you got to do. In fact, I don't even know why you're here. You should be there doing your Dex Indicator stuff, because this is all about signals and what we're about to do with it. Okay, so this little triad that we build is still very powerful. But Dex Signals is really going to become about marketing and advertising and providing the signal service. So Dex Signals will provide it to here and a few other services within DexTrader, sort of like our own little white label for ourselves, right? And this is pretty cool because we'll be able to apply a lot more of the signal network and the securities of this network separate from DexTrader, okay? Now, here's where the good stuff starts to happen. Let me get to here. Sorry. Customers, we talked about that. Once everything's moved over. Okay, so what's to come? We're very excited about what's to come because we started develop. Now, the other day when I did this webinar with Mike, we talked about making Forex signals. And making Forex signals is a very difficult product to try to find. One, because there is a tremendous amount of law to it, right? The legality is, and the regulations to these are very fearsome, because you just can't be throwing out, market changing signals into the process. So you have to be very careful. So we checked on the legalities of it, we checked on the law, we checked on the regulations, and we found that we could provide education and trade assistance. That's about it. So our Forex signals are really going to be in the form of a process. And how we've done it is in a very unique way, which we sort of found, I won't say a loophole in providing signals for Forex, but we found a very creative way. And if anybody here has heard of this way before, please let me know who else is the other company that does it. I'd like to reach out to them because it's very, very unique. Mike and I have not been able to find any other company that does it. Our Forex signal is going to give you one of the most life-saving processes of it, which is the stop loss, right? A lot of people do that. right? A stop loss is a place that you put your stop, so make sure that you stop losing money once it gets to a certain level. This could be any number, okay? We're also going to give you the current price, what we call the open price at this point, okay? And the open price is going to be just that current price, of course, but this is where you should be beginning at, very close to that, right? So, and then we're going to give you something else, not a take profit. Don't try to jump the gun here. It's not about to take profit at this point. This is called the expiry. We're going to treat this like it's a, oops, sorry. I'm really trying to get my pen back. We're going to give you an expiry time. So this is going to be a Forex signal that's timed based. And we're going to tell you between 1 hour or 45 minutes to 1 hour, get out of this trade. Now, I'm not going to say no matter what, but we're going to say, we're going to teach you a process called looking left. Okay? And looking left means on the process itself of using like MetaTrader 4 or a chart, means that you're just looking into the history. You're looking for some common, I just hit the wrong one. You're looking for a common line, a common level, if you will, to be able to get into or out of the trade. And we're going to show you how to do that within your system. So easily enough, looking left is just sort of scrolling like this to find out where some support and resistance lines at when you're getting in and out of trades. So it's going to become very powerful for all of you to be able to learn this, not only because of Forex, the Forex training, but we're going to be doing it and working with spreads and this signal. Now, this process doesn't have any real legality to it or regulation because it doesn't affect the market. It only affects Nadex. And because it's an exchange, yes, they are getting some legalities that they're putting in and some regulations that they're putting into their networks to protect themselves. But just like with anything, we just have to err on the side of caution. We're also going to be applying some web applications for money management, not just for Forex, but also on how to calculate for the spreads and the signals for Nadex as well. Now, another cool thing with this releasing the way it is on the time-based signature is that we're going to be able to show you how to stay in for the trades a little bit longer at times, use support and resistance, use the Dex MACD within a solution, okay? Follow with some other high-low information, following trends, all that kind of good stuff, being able to follow through with this trade, letting it stay on for a little longer, and to be able to get as much money as you can out of the system. Now, what I'm about to show you is a spreadsheet that I started to work with. Now, don't look at the number here or how many blues there are. Look at how many pips have been won over a short period of time. From the 3rd of April, look how many trades there are, over about 195 of them, to the 13th of April. So roughly around over a 10-day period with about 8 days of trading. What's that?
Screen's blank, Max.
Oh, it's blank?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's why. Zoop. There you go. That's where. Let's try that. Let's try this. Now you can see it. 50.26%, right? 50-50. This is called coin flipping, right? I'm not saying you could go do this, but each one of these signals comes over as an event happens. Because it's time-based, it has a lower finish rate in this process, but we're not looking for the finish rate. We're not looking so much. If you just did exactly what this told you to do, this is how many pips you would have won over 8 days. You understand? So 385 pips divided by 8, it's right around 48 pips a day. Now, what algorithm could you apply to this? What equation could you apply this? Because this is what we refer to as a lot, right? A lot of pips, but a lot, right? So whether it's a mini lot, a standard lot, or a micro lot, really depends how many lots you have on each one, on how much money you can make. Also encouraged with leverage and all that stuff. But also something else is that this is the same amount of movement that will happen, guess what, in a spread. Okay, so these are the things you really got to look at. So in spreads on Nadex, you're going to have to use a little bit more money to get in, but you're not going to lose as much as you would in, say, in a binary. But we're going to go through those in detail in all the training once we finish the development for spreads and for the Forex system. So that's a lot of. Let me get back over to it. That's a lot of the pips happening in all different types of timing. So we were able to go back through and watch to see which ones worked well in the London session compared to, because we're data hounds, right? You already know that. So we're compiling this data over and over and over again. We're looking at as many of the sessions on which ones does the best. Of course, this is also a 80% news avoidance process. We do have a system that we're releasing with it as well. That's going to be like the intraday, NA intraday that are on Dex Signals right now. So pretty powerful and pretty exciting. This is a lot of pips in this short period of time, just following the signal system itself and expiring after the 45 minutes or an hour. Okay, so whenever that time period said that it said to close, it closed, whether it was a win or it was a loss, right? But I want you to see like this one right here. This is 60 pips. 60 pips happened in that hour. Whether it was news-based or something happened at that point, there was protection in there because we put a 20 pip stop loss on all of these automatically. So as soon as the system comes out, we put 20 pips on as a stop loss, and only a handful of times, a little bit more than a handful, I think, did it hit 20 pips. Here's one. I'm pretty sure there's a couple more in here somewhere. There's another one. There's 3, 4. 4 out of 195, not too bad, right? Everything else was sort of middle, about 18 pips out. So this is a very good system for those that will have the attention span to be able to follow through the process, go through the training, learn about Forex, learn about the brokers, learn about their system. And this is what we're bringing to Dex Trader. Also through that process, we're bringing the spread version of this process to be able to help you learn about the spreads on Nadex, learn about how to trade them, learn how to protect yourself, learn about using the floor and the ceiling and the best margins possible. And from that process. Now, one thing we did learn doing this is that the amount of pips that we got in our Forex system was about 2/3 more than we got in our Nadex spreads, mostly because there is a bid-ask spread, or bid-offer spread on on Nadex that was sort of prohibiting some of the movement. So we have to really work on it next week. We're going to be reaching out to the elites and the seniors to ask them for some help to help trade them. But in this particular case, we're going to offer some incentives with that process, which I'll go over to with you later. Dex Trader is also going to receive and has started to receive a what would you call it, like a facelift?
Yes, a kind of a redesign.
Yeah, a
really
bit
cool.
Of a redesign. The main bones is still there, but the overall, if you've seen the website, it started to take on a little bit more of a modern feel. Sort of moving away from all of the flashy sliders and all that stuff. It has no real business in what we're doing. It doesn't really exude trust in the process. It's just a bunch of design tricks in there. I'm here to try to make this thing work with the tools that we need, right?
More user-friendly.
More user-friendly. We call the user experience. And the user experience from the people that we talked to was that they needed more discipline and determination, direction, if you will, on where to go. So what we did, let me get it over to the desktop. What we did is, and please bear with me, we're still working on some of it, but what we have started to do is where you normally would go to your member portal, and you'll still go there for now, and we'll release an email once all of the processes have been done. We're going through them with a fine-tooth comb and using all of our organization tools here now with our project management system that we just released within our company and a few other things. But you used to go to the membership portal, you used to go through all the training here. See how we even started to move some of it. But what we've created was an internal community network. I'm not going to say the words like Facebook or anything like that, even though I just did. But we did create something that within the network that you can come to now and create yourself a profile. This is only able to be seen by a certain type of member that we're going to. Right now, it can be seen by just about everybody if you can go in and look. But here today and tomorrow will be restricting this to elites and seniors and paid members only. So free members who come on board won't be able to, access or go through a lot of your stuff. We're only going to have it to where, people will be able to contact you if you're a senior or you're elites, or if you're a paid member by a senior or an elite member of the network. Okay. But what this is also going to have is a link to your personal training, what you have done, making consults, notes about your trading. It'll have your journal page that you can have attached directly to your profile. So as you're trading, you'll have your own training tab. You'll have your own news tab. It's just to be a whole bunch of things just in your profile. So this is all just for you, right? No more just humping you all into one giant chat room to talk. We also created a trader's feed. Now this is sort of like a chat. It's almost like a news feed like you see in Facebook or Twitter or what have you, where you'll be able to go place in things like Paul did today and make comments and look at other people's trades and see how well they're doing and communicate with them. Okay, via either Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or Google or what have you, and see their profiles. You'll be able to go and basically check them out. See that they're real people. You can see a little bit of their bio. You can see what they're talking about on their wall, about sharing their trades and adding things in, and you can communicate with them. You can ask them different questions about what they're doing, how well their training's going, those kind of things. And this is going to work volumes for our company for intercommunications, to be able to talk to each other, to see what we're doing and see how things are going. Okay, very, very important to us as a company. What else? I think mostly the network is taking on a completely different feel, not just about being able to go in and trade and make a lot of money, but being able to do so and keep it going. I talked to a customer the other day who said to me, I really hope you don't go anywhere, because I'm just using the dailies. I said this the other night. He says, I'm just using the dailies, and I don't want them to go anywhere. They're boring, but that's all I use. I don't want to use anything else. I just hope you don't go anywhere. And I think that there's almost like this feel in this industry, like people just come and go. And in fact, most of the people, the big dogs that I see, Apex Investing, BTG, and a handful of others, they're the really ones that are just been there the whole time, because they have the wherewithal. They have the moxie to stick it out and make things work. But all the little tiny ones that I've seen come and go, 50, 60 of them to be exact, they're all gone because they can't handle those things. We're also going to be producing the series that we've been talking about for some time. We're finally at that point now to where we're able to sit down and just knock these things out. And now that we have a communication system with internal as well, because we had to learn some hard lessons over the last couple of months. One was our organization. We were doing well doing customer service, but we were having a hard time with project completion, being able to get things done on a timely manner, and keeping other programmers where Max Farrell didn't have to do everything within programming or site design or drafting the posts and writing articles and doing videos and doing all that stuff. When Mike Ficca came on here and started working with us and handling a lot of the MDM 5-minute series stuff, was a godsend to me, because there was a lot of work that needed to be done with that. And Mike, you raised up and you've done a hell of a job. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Max.
There's something to be said for a company that's willing to grow and to keep moving and listen. And that's the big thing. We listen. We're not perfect. That's why we ask the questions we do. That's why we take the criticisms we do. That's why we talk to people. That's why we try to help as much as possible. Now, one of the things that we're really happy about too that's coming is the news you can use. We are building a communication network that will scour the internet for the news that will affect the FX world. And we call it Dex FX World, right? And DexFXWorld.com is scanning the internet, looking for the news articles and looking for the news things that will affect the world. They'll drop them into my office. I will go through them to see what will affect our world directly. I'll do videos on them. I'll do rewrites on them. I'll look at the different effects that those news will have on the different levels that we're dealing with those assets. And these will go out everywhere. I'll give analysis for the euro, for the Audi, for for just about anything that comes over through the desk. So, and when that happens, I'm going to transfer that information into posts that will appear, guess where? On your profile, in a news tab that we're putting up. They'll appear on our news feeds on Facebook, on Twitter, and a few other places as well. This way, you ever been trading with us and there's no news out there and all of a sudden you get this giant spike? We've started to see these relationships between these sideways news, right? The Audi has them a lot when its oil gets hit. Okay, oil over here starts to happen, affects the CAD. You get some stuff happening here in the United States. We're even tracking, and this is not a political statement, Trump tweets, right? And the effectiveness of Trump tweets against the market. So it's huge, right? We're about to make Dex great again. Sorry, bad joke.
Huge.
But it's huge. All right. So we have a few more things discussed, and then I'll get you guys on to questions and answers. In developing a relationship with everybody a while ago, we decided that we were going to do consults. I spoke to an individual at a competitor's, who was a competitor here about 2.5 years ago. And he reached out to me and he says, you know what, you're going to be probably one of the last consults I do. And I asked him, why is that? And he said, because I've done a couple thousand of them and they're so tiring. You deal with so many mentalities. He goes, everybody's ignorant on how to trade. Everybody, when you got somebody who has no trading, you've been trading for 3 or 4 years, or 10 years or 15 years, it gets boring to try to tell them the same thing over and over again. He goes, I don't see how anybody could keep this up. And I told him, I said, I don't blame you, because that would be crazy if I had to sit and talk to people all day long or, make myself available to talk to thousands of people. I'd probably pull my hair out. Once I started doing them, I started to find that when I stopped looking at it as a chore and started looking at it more of that it was a necessity to meet with people and talk to people, the more people I talked to, the more ways I could figure out how to trade. Isn't that wild? The more people I talked to, the more people I began to be able to empathize with and know their story, know who they were, the more I wanted to make this work. Now, there are times when I needed a break. I needed to pull back. I couldn't do consults and code. I couldn't code for 12 hours straight, as you guys know I'm prone to do, and then go talk to somebody about trading. I couldn't talk to 20 people in a day and then expect to do a 2-hour webinar or an hour webinar. So there were times that I needed to take breaks. Mike's been a huge asset with that as well. But Mike, you even started to look at now, how your consult's been going.
I really enjoy them. I mean, I enjoy talking to people anyway. I mean, that's just the kind of guy I am. But I enjoy the aha moments when somebody actually gets what I'm telling them. And, like I've been trading with a lot of people. I get them to open up their, in the MDM anyway, get them to open up their MT4 or the WB, and we go and we do a couple trades together just so they know exactly what they're doing and what the system is and the one up, one down method. I mean, it's great.
Right.
It really is. I really love it.
I have a couple of different things that I do with some that have the consults with me. I kind of talk to them about if you're listening to this, I'm talking to you. If you do a consult with me, you're going to get a little bit of everything. It could really depend on where your experience level is. If you're already, vastly experienced, you might get that real talk. You have to have that real conversation. It's not just about me telling you everything you want to hear, just make you feel good so you'll still stay with us. I'd rather lose you as a customer because things just won't work out for you, or maybe you don't like what I say because I'm telling you the truth, then rather than lie to you and stroke you along so you're stuck paying with us. I want you to get the real benefit from it. So I'm going to listen to what you say and I'm going to hear what you say, but I'm also going to be very honest with you at times. I've had to tell a handful of people I don't think this is for them because their expectations are too high, or maybe their work ethic or time period or discipline's too low. But they'll still get the straight truth from me every time I talk to them. But one thing I have found is that, especially Mike, when I deal with people that have no experience whatsoever, is usually the first consult I do is just to kind of get to know you. And then after I meet with a couple of times, I get to hear a little bit of doubt here and there, like, oh, I don't know if I could do it or what I can do it. and then we look at their journal, right? Now, the best thing is that if you do a consult with me and it's the second time you've met me, the third time you've met, at least do your homework, do your training, do your trading, get some trades on, and have a journal ready for me, because I can assess a lot about what you do in a journal very quickly. I did this with Mike. I was able to look at his trades and really focus on where he was going wrong at, and a very quick assessment. I did this with a gentleman named Courtney here just recently. We had a chance to look at his trades, and his biggest question is like, what am I doing wrong? And I looked at his how much money he was making, and I said, you're in positive ROI. You're not doing anything wrong. He goes, but I'm losing. I was like, of course. So we said, then let's look at the losses. And I seen that he had a few mistakes in there. We assessed them, and we moved on. But that's what it takes. It takes just a few moments of somebody's experience to change your life. And that's why I'll never stop doing consults, because it is the most important thing, is to have that human interaction, to be able to talk to you and figure out, what are you doing? Now, where are you going to get that at? That kind of experience with somebody like Mike, who's done thousands of trades, or myself, that's done probably close to 100,000 trades by now, has really set themselves into, and being able to give you that and share that experience with you.
Plus, I tell a lot of them, there's nothing that they could do or have done that I haven't already done or already messed up on.
Attempted, right? Or been yelled at by Max. Yeah, I get it.
No comment.
No comment, right? When I first met Mike, Mike had a list as long as your arm of things that he wanted to see happen, and questions and moments of questioning of whether or not this was real, what could really happen, why doesn't this do this, and why does this do that? And I really had to stop him and point that finger inward a little bit with him. And once he got it, just like he says, the aha moment, I think he had the biggest aha I've ever seen in anybody, because it was like an overnight switch just happened. And his whole life changed from that point. 2 months later, he's a partner. Not because he was just given it. He worked his ass off to get it. Something changed in him. So hopefully one of you will be able to meet with him, be able to do that as well. With that, by the way, he went through the level advancement process of being elite. Now, what is this really about? Originally, it was just, hey, let me see who's in, who's contributing, who's doing. We'll get you in a few trades, see how well things, then we'll make you a senior, then we'll take you to senior level 2. But what we're doing right now, since we got this organization thing going for us right now, we're going to keep things rolling. We're developing the plan to have this as an application. So the elites, somebody who's not an elite will apply to become an elite, and you'll go through an application process of doing the trades, going through the training. We'll track how everything's working, and then see if you're making the trades, if you're doing well. If you're doing well, you're following the rules, you're helping others, all that kind of stuff, then you can apply for senior. Then senior will take you to senior level 2. And then we just have to kind of talk about partnership at that point. Now, one of the other things that we're doing with this process of the profile system that you guys seen just a few moments ago is that we're also creating, I'm going to say this word, but it's not really about being a game, but it's called gamification, where we're going to apply points for you being able to help people and answering questions and sharing things and sharing news and doing these things. And these points could be turned into discounts on the product, things that we're developing as far as products as well, series, and in fact, even money as well. So we're very excited about these things being released and what we're doing with the network, because it means that it's going to be a lot more participation on your side as well. All right. The other night I wrote this down because I wanted to be able to let you all know that we do listen to you. We do listen to your comments. We do listen to the things that you tell us that you want to see and hear and be a part of. We also know that there has to be growth for this to be a profitable system for you. We don't just want you to be here just so you can spend money on us. We want you to be able to get something from this. You get that aha moment, like Mike says, but also be able to make money so you can still afford to pay us so we can keep building better and better things. We won't get there unless we stand up and make it work. Now, with everything that's happening in this world, with all the confusions of all the different markets and the different things and all the different things that we're bringing to the table, we're slowly bringing it in. We're slowly finiting the process to be a pinpoint process of accuracy. And this is what's happening with the network. Dex Trader is going to be that pinnacle. It's going to be that part of the process that's going to be very powerful for all of you and even us. So I'm very excited about that. Mike, do you have anything to add before we go into questions and answers?
No, I think it's. Oh, you were going to talk about a company that you were upset at?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thanks for the reminder. You all know in doing business, one thing that I found that I always get, if I'm sitting at my computer, right? Do I need a disclaimer? No, I don't need a disclaimer. I already put that up there earlier. But let me tell you right now, I've learned something about the industries of data collection and working with companies. I've been in all types of security platforms. I've built security networks. I have dealt with things like the Big Brother series and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to get too in depth with this, but in being a professional trader and working, and one thing I've always tell people, shut things down on your computer. Don't have 50 tabs open, right? Yeah. Let's not have 50 tabs open, right? Let's not have 50 things going on. And this is very light, by the way. Normally my tabs have this is probably about 20 light, okay? But I tell people, remove Facebook, remove Twitter, shut the phone off, shut the door, let the kids go run wild, do whatever, right? Have the spouse keep the kids or do whatever. But make sure when you're trading, keep focused. One thing that I had found was that Facebook, and this is the company we're going to be talking about just for a few seconds here. Facebook has this process that, we used to use Facebook as a chat system for interdepartment stuff. Okay. And so I would go and Amy would shoot me a Facebook message and I'd go and I'd have a look. And once I answered it, I would go do this. I would run to my Facebook page. I'm not even going to go to Facebook to show you. And I would scroll and scroll and scroll. Has anybody done that? Has anybody gone to Facebook and scrolled? Yeah. You've just done the blind, the mindless scrolling down and look at all the news feeds. I would also see something on board and I'd get angry. I would get excited, or I get sad, or I'd see somebody died, or I see one of my friends, vomiting on the sidewalk from drinking too much the night before, or whatever, right? And I would get engrossed in these things. And I found that my emotions were up and down. And then I would go try to trade. And I'd be all over the place myself. So I don't know how many of you use Facebook and in that process, but I'm going to offer you a challenge. And I hope Facebook is watching this. I hope you understand that this is I'm very serious about this. I have stopped going to Facebook and trading my time on Facebook, and just allowed myself to go and answer anything on Facebook that I needed. Gave myself 10 minutes to go. I set the alarm, go get 10 minutes and get out. I have not been on Facebook for 4 days. Okay? I have not been on Facebook for 4 days. And I have gotten more work done. Now, I work a lot. I work about 15, 16 hours a day. So imagine the amount of time that I've spent going back and forth on Facebook. I was spending 10 to 15 minutes scrolling on each one 20, 30 times a day. So I was doing a lot of extra time scrolling. So the amount of work I did in there without, once I stopped going to Facebook was tremendous. Now, I'm not trying to create like this movement like no more Facebook, but I've started to make myself aware of those losses in time. And it's not just Facebook. It's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's Snapchat, it's all these onboard companies that have this availability now to be able to rob you of your time. So as a business, set yourself down leisure time to scroll, but don't do it during your work. Keep your business about your business. Keep your solutions about trading to your trade. Remove all the other stuff. Create yourself blinders during the day or whenever you're trading, and don't allow yourself to get sucked up by these companies. That's what they're there for. They're there to suck up your time. That's my rant. I appreciate you listening. Thanks, Mike, for reminding me.
No problem.
To everybody that's watching this after the fact, thank you very much for being here tonight. For those of you in the room, stick around. We'll do the questions and answers. For everybody else, thank you again. We'll see you in the next one. Nadex is closed for the rest of the evening and all day tomorrow, which is Friday. So take the weekend. See you Sunday on the market. And as always, trade well. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Max.